am dyslexic, so you'll never see me write on the board. I can't do that and talk at the same time and actually write the letters in the correct order. Sometimes I screw up on my PowerPoints. I don't have a proofreader. They're expensive. I don't get paid a lot. So if I make a mistake, feel free to tell me, right? I don't have a problem with that. In that same line, I understand about difficulties, right? And I will help you as best I can. Don't be afraid to ask, right? And I'll go over the disability statement too and let you guys know that need extra stuff for class. I'll do whatever I can within my power to help you out. Don't feel you can't ask. But you also have some important things to do as it relates to disability services if you have a documented disability and you need something beyond the reasonable accommodations that I do in general for my students. So one of the cool things that I do for my students is I record all my lectures. So you'll see what's on my screen and you'll have my voice. You won't have my face because I haven't advanced to that level, and I might have to start wearing makeup. I could do that. I don't know. I can't stand seeing my face, but eventually I might do that. Storage used to be an issue with that, and I'll tell you a story about a student I had in the past. She had some family difficulty. I'm not sure what it was. And because I recorded my lecture, she just stayed home and didn't come to class anymore, which you guys aren't going to do because there's going to be points associated with class, right? So that would really hurt you. But she didn't realize until it was too late that this funky face and the facial expressions and the hand gestures that I do really made a difference on how she understood the material. So it wasn't until after the fact she was like, oh, Miss Erica, really, like, I didn't know this, you know? And I was like, oh, crap. So, you know, again, I'm not going to record my face just yet, though. So come to class, right? Because apparently for some of you, this face makes a difference, right? So, because we express things not just by the way we talk, right? But even in our facial expressions and our mannerisms that we have. So apparently I'm quite animated. So that helps some people. So our Canvas site, right, if you want to get to any of your Canvas sites, you go to Delgado's main website, you click on the Canvas link right here underneath the scrolling pictures. Delgado Alert is something they want us to remind you guys about during the semester. The link is actually at the bottom of the page. I think that's one of those things that should be at the top, but that's just me. As well as the Bookstore, and we'll talk about the book issues, right, as we go through the syllabus, what your different options are. So I've already clicked on Canvas, right, because as I said, I'm going to do roll right in Canvas each day. It records it for me. It's great. It has your little pictures. I'll start learning your faces and your names, linking those two together. If you put your face there anyways, it helps me out. Plus, you guys are all beautiful. I like beautiful faces. So, or if, you know, you put some other thing, like somebody put a panda bear with glasses, you know, I'm going to associate you as a panda bear with glasses now, if you do that. But you can do that if you want. If you want to be a cat, whatever you want, right? Nowadays with technology, you can be anything you want. Everybody know about the first dashboard page? Okay. So they're blasting you right now because nobody reads our actual email. So now they're blasting us on the dashboard page in Canvas, right? Trying to reach students. You might want to actually read through some of these. They might apply to you. They may help you. But your blocks are down here, and eventually they'll be at the top of the page once they stop blasting us, if they ever do. But I think this is the new way they're like trying to reach students, is through the Canvas, because they know most teachers we use this. You can change these tiles too. Like you'll notice I change them because I teach multiple sections of the same course, and this makes it easier for me. But it doesn't change it for you. This is a personal setting thing. The other place that you can quickly reference what I usually use is the course button. And again, because I changed it on my dashboard, mine show up differently than they do for you. And this helps me quickly navigate to my courses in Canvas. If you don't see them, it's because you haven't set your favorites. You have to click all courses. And then you'll see all the courses. And for me, of course, that's a lot. So hence why I choose favorites. And you just click the little star button. And then they show up on that tab as your favorites. So you click it again, and there they all are. So then we go to our class, which for us, I don't deal in section numbers. I deal in days and times, right, in courses. Are you in lecture? Are you in lab? Right? Are you in my online section? So under Canvas, if your instructor turned it on, there's a link that says syllabus, and some students get confused and think it's the actual syllabus. It's not. It's what they call a syllabus in Canvas. And what it allows instructors to do is link things to this front page. I haven't really done that for this course, so I put, you know, to let you guys know, this is not where you go for stuff, right, for this class, materials for this class. You go under modules, and that's where most instructors put most of their stuff. And that's where I put all my stuff. So I'm going to click over to modules. And you'll see I have my syllabus and stuff. The first thing I have in that category is my schedule and my information. And so you can view these or download these, right? If you're like me and you can't see, you want to make it full screen, you just push the double arrows. And then you might even need to blow a bit more, but this is showing up nice and big in this room. I'm actually liking this little room they stuck me in because I got a big screen. So I have a Google number. What that means is it rings both my cell phone and my office phone, and that's it right there. You're welcome to put it in your phones now if you want. You can text me through this. You can call me. You can leave me a voicemail. If you become a super texter, I'll probably put you in my address book and then delete you at the end of the semester. If you're a super texter, when you call me and I answer the phone and I say your name, you know you're a super texter. But I probably won't remember necessarily, depending on how much we communicate via the phone, as to what class you're in. So that's some of the really important information, so much so that I put it on my schedule, is that whenever you're communicating with me, make sure that I know who you are and what class you're in, because what you're asking me is going to apply to those things, right? You don't have to write biology 210 section 101. You guys are? No, we're 101. Yeah. Better off saying micro lecture or micro Monday, Wednesday, right? Something that simple, like it doesn't have to be all detailed, right? If you're emailing me through Canvas or use that email that I sent you guys already, that welcome one with the directions on how to find this room, you can just save that in your email and just reply to that, right? And it will tell me everything I need to know. And the good news is Canvas has linked with whatever your preferred email is. So when students email me through Canvas, it gets sent to my Delgado email because that's my preferred link email, because I don't have a choice here. I work here. But when you registered here, you actually could choose a preferred email. And so if you're not getting my announcements emailed to you, depends on your settings in Canvas 1, right? And 2, whether you're actually checking that preferred email or not. You are supposed to check that, whatever it is you chose or didn't choose and therefore defaulted to Delgado. If you don't know what that is, log on to Lola and check. Also log on to Lola and update your information, right? If any of that is outdated, phone number, address, things like that, right? Because that can be important information that we may need, right, to contact you. I hate it. My online students, like I'll have ones that don't realize school started and sign up for my class and don't ever log on for like a week. I will actually sometimes call you and be like, what happened to you? Do you not realize class started? Right? I'll be nice sometimes when I'm not too busy. So don't be surprised too if you text me sometimes and I'll text back, can I call you? Because sometimes a quick phone conversation, we can clear things up instead of texting back and forth. I'm not really good, as you saw on her phone. I'm not a super texter. I don't fall into that category, right? I'm actually old school. I know how to type. I can type on a keyboard with all my fingers, right? Unlike most people, right? Or nowadays everybody's like this, right? On their phones with their thumbs. Great fun. Okay, so I have 2 sections of this course, an online section, and I have 2 labs, right? So if you're in my lab, tell me what day and time. Tell me it's lab, right? And if you miss lab, you're going to be calling me anyways. So, and a bunch of you guys are in my lab, and some of you guys are actually in today's lab. And so you'll notice my schedule, like I go from lab on Tuesday to a lecture, and same thing on Wednesdays, right? Tuesdays and Wednesdays, not so great days. You'll notice Friday's not on my schedule right now, although I'll probably be here. As some of you guys seen on my desktop, right? You saw a picture of my son and my husband and my mama. I have a 9-year-old that goes to Morris Jeff, so every morning I drop him off at school and then I come here. Except for on Wednesdays, I actually throw him on the bus at 6:50 in the morning so I can get into lab early and get myself situated and the lab situated for my students. Because again, I care that much about what I do here, that I will, find a way to dump the kid off earlier. So I can do what I need to do in a timely manner. These office hours may change. Guess where they're going to get posted if they get changed? In Canvas. In general, I'm here Monday through Friday from about 8, right, because he got to be at school for 8, until about 3 o'clock. Come by, call, text, email, right, if you need to see me. I love what I do, and I love interacting with my students because it makes me a better teacher, right? If I learn what's in your heads and what you're not understanding, then I can do a better job up here for everybody in the class, right? So I think back to when I first started teaching, I'm like, oh my God, it was horrible. I mean, I was good, you know, but you improve as you go, right? I'm always improving. I'm always trying new things. I'm not afraid to try new things. I'm not afraid to use technology, right? I'll stumble. Hey, what the heck, right? And just keep on going. My lectures right now are on YouTube. I think they're public. I don't want to be a YouTube star. Once you get my link, you can subscribe to my channel. You get all my postings that I've done over the years. You're more than welcome to. I don't care. I just want my students to get what they need in a format that they can work with, right? So if you can't take notes and you want to listen to this again and take notes on your own at home, you can do that, right? Do what works best for you, right? So I understand the value of this tool, and you know, sometimes people do miss, and you're going to miss a lot of stuff. So what am I going to tell you if you miss class? Go to Canvas, watch the video, find out what you missed. Don't email me, because that's all I'm going to tell you, right? And as far as the points go, like I said, we'll hash it out at the end of the semester, depending on what happens. If you're going to miss more than a day, right, something serious happened, right, work, whatever, military, then email me, right? If it's not some random day, illness, family issue, whatever, don't bother emailing me. Just go to Canvas, get what you missed from the recording, okay? But if it's going to be a prolonged absence, definitely communicate with me, right? Because then we'll need to figure out what adjustments might need to be made. Any questions so far? Okay. So I don't bother printing out the syllabus. Most students don't look at it after the first day in this class. And in fact, I have two. We have the departmental one, which if you haven't read one for biology, read through it. There's actually good information for you guys in it. Might do a little pop quiz in my polling next time, see how many people actually read it. But I'm not going to read it to you. They'll all be asleep.
Does this syllabus have like test dates? Like, do you have tests, or do you just have tests?
I am in the process of setting those dates. I didn't get one of the dates I wanted, which is test 1. I will put those in Canvas because what I do is I reserve the computer lab in building 1, and we actually take our tests on the computer. So on test days, which I will have predetermined in the next couple of days, maybe even today, we will go over to building 1 to the Hibernia Center, and I have a map and everything I post for you guys, and I'll remind you guys, and I'll post it on Canvas. And we'll go over there, and you'll do it on the computer. The important thing with that is because most of us, our computers remember our passwords. Make sure you write it down. Most of us write it in our notes section in our cell phones because you need that to take the test because you're going to log on to Canvas to take the test, right? And don't keep trying to put it in because it'll lock you out and then you can't take your test, right? So just reset it in Lola if you're having a problem. If you ever can't get into Canvas, go to Lola. Make sure your password is working properly, right? And then log back into Canvas. If you change it, it changes immediately for Canvas. Does that make sense to you guys? And then, of course, if you get into Canvas and you looked all the places I told you to look for your courses and you don't see them, while you're in Lola, if you went to Lola, make sure you're still registered for that class. And then if you are, then contact your instructor. At this point in the semester, although some of us, we don't like to turn it on until we meet you, I turned mine on early because I wanted to help you guys. Right? No, it's automatic. If you're registered for this class with Lola, you're automatically in the Canvas course. They're linked. And so if you drop this, you will drop from my role. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. So I'm going to do the syllabus addendum, right? So this is my changes from the overall departmental, and this is the important stuff, right, that you may want to access. So you can view it right in Canvas, or you can download it, save it to your computer. I'm just going to pop it up. So as I said, I am an animal lover too. That's my son and me. We were trying to do a selfie, and my dog photobombed us. She's like, "What are you doing?" She had to get her head in there. She's a beautiful little black rescue that we got about a year ago, and we love her all to death. We got her from Villalobos, the pet rescue that does the Animal Planet show, pit bulls and pearlies. She's not a pit. She's some type of mix, but she's pretty awesome. We love her. So like I said, for my vet tech students and any other animal lovers out there, I'm an animal lover. So we're right now in building 2. My office, on the other hand, though, is in building 1. So we're the sexy leg department, right? We hoof it back and forth, sometimes several times a day. That's what I tell my colleagues when they start complaining. I just think about how good your legs are going to look, right? Just keep walking, and nowadays, you know, it keeps track of it. So I get my steps in. So this is my office in that back west side away from City Park. City Park's over here, right? This part isn't that big, huge cubicle area, but I have one of the nicer cubicles, and then I have real walls and windows that lead to, of course, just the hallway. I have my own blue roof I put on because when they were doing the construction in that building, they almost killed me. I have a HEPA filter in that room, which I've actually turned off right now. I'm trying to see if, like, the air is better in building 1. They tell us it is. So I'm doing a little experiment right now. But my windows also don't have my posters on them anymore. They don't allow us to do that. Don't get me started. The blinds are there. If the light's on, she's home. But if I'm not, if the door's closed, it's because I got tired of giving directions to the business advisor and I want to get work done. Just knock. If the light's on, I'm probably in there or I'm in the bathroom. If I'm not in there, the light is probably off and I'm probably down the hall in the microbiology lab. I have a little sign on my door with an arrow because I travel to certain places a lot, and that'll be the quick indication. Plus, I have that Google number on there if you're trying to find me, right? You're desperate to see me. Go ahead and send me a quick text or give me a phone call. Because I usually always have my cell phone on me. I won't answer it in the bathroom, but I don't take very long in there. I'll be back soon. The copier is another place I spend a lot of time in, but I don't usually do that during office hours. I respect those. I'm usually do my best to be available. But I'm in charge of the lab, so I spend a lot of time in the lab, and students sometimes have to make up labs. So down the hall, room 102 West, is another place to look for me, and it says it on my sign. So I already said about the Lola campus linkage thing, right? So general information about my office hours, in addition to what I just said. I already said too before about your preferred email, right? This is just written out for you so that you have a better understanding. And I already kind of went over texting, but this kind of stuff they like for us to put in writing. So there it is if you want to review it. So what are we going to do in this class? We're going to cover objectives, which are your study guide. So things that I expect you to be able to do, like distinguish between prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Right now you're like, what the hell is either one of those, right? Especially if biology was a long time ago, right? Prokaryote, eukaryote, anyone know what either one of those mean? Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. Okay, so what am I going to do in my PowerPoint lectures? I'm going to go over the objectives. What do you need to study for the test? The objectives, right? What am I going to ask you about on the test? The objectives, right? I don't throw any curveballs, right? No curveballs? Straightforward shooter, off the hip. Yeah, but I fix it if I screw up, right? I do. I'm human, I make mistakes, right? If I do something I said I wasn't going to do, I will fix it. Call me out on it. I don't have a problem with it, right? But for the most part, I'm pretty straightforward. I try the best to be that, as it should be. We're going to do a couple of discussion boards. I'm going to go over that. These are 2 videos that are helpful that explain grading. And one of them is actually from Canvas Help that shows you how to navigate discussion boards if you're not familiar with these and you need a little additional help. One of the features, it says if your instructor allows you to do this, I don't allow you to create your own discussion boards. You can only reply to the ones I've created. So you can kind of fast forward over that section. But sometimes listening to it, maybe some of your other classes, they use that feature. It might be beneficial to you. You are required to do online assignments through the book publisher, known as Wiley Plus. And so, meet with me now in regards to that. Unlike A&P, this one's cheaper, Anatomy and Physiology, right? It's like $100. For us, I checked yesterday, it's $55 for the semester. So it's much cheaper, but everybody's got to do it. If you buy the book at the bookstore, it comes with the code and the link to the assignments, which also gives you the ebook. Right now, everybody can sign up for a free grace period, which gives you the ebook and the assignments for 2 weeks. So that's what I'm going to ask you guys to do, because I'm going to ask you to start reading after today, chapter 1. And there's no reason why you shouldn't do it, right? Because most people have access to technology nowadays.
For this class, do you prefer that you buy the book, or do you think that the book is just
That's not for me to decide. That's for you to decide, right? No. Nope. Never going to ask you to bring the book to class. Never, ever, ever. And if I reference the book, I'll pull it up on the screen because I have access to the ebook too, which I will do throughout the semester. It's 3-hole punched that you can put into a binder to save you money, like they're doing a lot of that nowadays. So unfortunately, the bookstore doesn't rent or have used copies. Just FYI. And it's about $150 some odd dollars, but it's the book and the ebook and the online assignments, right? Yes, if you're comfortable with the ebook, you can just, through the link in my class, pay your $55 and use the ebook and the assignments and you're good to go. Which for some of us, that's still kind of steep, right?
Can you use like the older versions? Like
Oh, there is no old version.
Oh, okay.
This is the first edition of this book, but we have been using it for a long time.
Okay.
So those of you guys that are savvy and buy books, use books, or rent books elsewhere and no reputable places, I'm not going to recommend anything. But those of you guys are book savvy like that and really want to have a physical copy and you want to try and save even more, you could buy the $55, have the ebook, and then pay however much extra to have a physical copy of the book, if you're one of those ones that has to have a physical copy. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. So you have options, and you got to choose what's best for you. I can't make that decision. Everyone's going to do the assignment, so everyone's going to have access to the ebook at least. Right? Make sense? And I'm going to show you guys, hopefully if we have time, I'll have a volunteer come up how ridiculously easy it is to register for this, and how you do that through the link I have in Canvas for you. So there's the book. It is the first edition. It has been out for a while. They are actually on the second edition, so finding used copies should actually be quite easy for you guys, if that's something you're interested in. And this is the link to the bookstore, which remember is on the bottom of the Delgado homepage. And this is the things you have to fill in the search fields to find the actual book, depending on which campus bookstore you're going to. So students with disabilities, disability services is in this building, but on the, what are we on, east or west? This is east, it's on the west. It's room 102 past the welcome desk. The person has changed, again, but she's someone we had before, Gretchen Peoples. Make sure that you have a disability and you need accommodations, especially for testing, that you get with them, you get your documentation, and make sure that I get it before testing. If you're going to be going to the testing center, it's not a problem. I set up the special program on the computers there. I know Katie really well. You just go there instead of coming to the computer lab with everyone else. So you can have additional time or enlarged text or anything like that you may need. It's not a problem. But just let me know so we can get it set up as soon as possible. And I can't set it up, something like that, the testing center, without your letter. You have to have your letter. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so do that. Those of you guys that are been doing it, you understand this. So did I talk about FN in this class? No, I'm remembering from my other class. Okay, so the return of the FN grade. So what does this mean? This grade means that you failed because you did not participate or attend class. So what does that mean if you have financial aid? You lied to them, and they're not happy about it, right? Because you took their money and you didn't do what you said you would do. Go to class. So they're not going to give you any more money, right? They're really cracking down on this, and I can't drop you if you show up today. If you don't show up for the first 14 days, like for any of your other classes, your teachers will drop you because we will get in trouble if we don't. Right? And we don't like to get in trouble. And we get no money for you from the federal government, right, if we drop you before the 14th day. That's also why you don't get your financial aid until then, right? They want to make sure everybody shows up before they give you money. New this semester, whether they actually do it or not, I don't know, which is why I didn't update my syllabus or the other one, is that apparently this was the end of the semester thing in the past that's returning. It is a midterm thing that they're potentially going to do. So if at midterm, right, you haven't been showing up, you haven't dropped yourself, because after the 14th day, you've showed up at least once, I'm not dropping you. None of your other professors are dropping you because we can't. We physically cannot do it. Right? You have to do it. You have to take responsibility for yourself. So if you showed up, you didn't get dropped, you're on the roll, you stop coming, midterm rolls around, I can't give you a grade because I don't have any grades for you, I'm going to give you an FN. If you get an FN in all your classes, they're booting you out of school. And you have to go through the reinstatement process. Right? So some things to keep in mind, right? Do what you need to do. Again, if you bug out on me, I might be nice and call you and be like, hey, what's going on? You haven't dropped, you need to drop. Right? If your phone number is updated in Lola, that is, right? So, be aware of that. Let your friends know. They just come here for the paycheck. It's not a paycheck. Okay, important information that's found in the student handbook. Anyone know how to get to the student handbook?
Lola. No.
Yeah, I think you can access it through Lola.
But it's under current students.
Under current students is one of the ways you can get to it.
It's right.
And it's right there.
Sorry, I think it is on. It used to be on Lola.
I think it's linked to Lola as well. But this is one of the quicker ways without having to log into Lola. It is linked to the Delgado website, the main page, if you then current students. Which you are, right? So it makes sense. What a student needs to do would be under current students. In that handbook, and you want to click the current one, is important information like the academic calendar and the final exam schedule. So we're going to go over that. So what are some important dates? Well, today is an important date because today is the 18th. And today is the very last day, if you're doing it online, to add or change sections of courses and to drop out of a course and it doesn't count against you and you get most of your money back and all that kind of good stuff. Okay? Today's it. If for some reason you've screwed up something online, right, if you want to drop a particular class, I would suggest doing it on campus online, and that way if you run into problems before 4 o'clock, someone here can assist you. After 4 o'clock, most of them have bugged out, right? Their workday has ended for administrative staff, and they leave, and you're left to online, and if you can't get it done and done right, then you lose out, right? Does that make sense? That's an important date. Today's an important date. The other important date is what I refer to as the 14th day. So this, again, is the last day to drop without getting a W. Okay? So today is the last day to change things up. The 14th day is the last day you can also drop and not get a W on your transcript. But the money thing is different. You have to look that up at the bottom of the page. This is also the day if you've never showed up, your teacher's going to drop you so they don't get in trouble, right? So, and depending on the class, just sending them an email is not going to cut it, right? You probably need to go talk to that teacher in person and figure out what you're going to do about what you missed. Does that make sense? Okay. The other important date, which is way later than I think it probably should, is April 4th. That's the last day you can drop, you, not me. You can drop yourself and get a W in this course, a withdrawal. This is the very last possible day. Same thing applies, right? I think they even have, no, they didn't have the varying times here. But, you know, if you want to do that before this date, if that's something you need to do, right? Because, again, if you run into problems on the computer, no one's going to be here at 6 o'clock to help you, by the way. They don't stay late on drop day. They don't care. They leave at 4 o'clock. Does that make sense? I hate that they put 6 o'clock here. But that's because up until 6 o'clock online, you really can do it. But, you know, some people screw that up. The last day of classes is May 1st, which is a Monday, right? Which is classes on Monday, Wednesdays, right? So our last day is May 1st. Starting the next day, May 2nd, is final exams. Do we meet for class anymore? No, we're done. Looking confused sometimes, right? Exams start then. So then you go by the final exam schedule, which is not the easiest schedule to follow. It's actually not as complicated as big universities like where I went to school. So it's right here. The way you read this is in this grid, you look for when your class time and day is. So I already looked ours up. We're right here, right? Monday, Wednesdays, 2 to 3:15. So this means that our exam is going to be at 3:30 on, go to the top, May 8th, which happens to be a Monday. Keep in mind, depending on your other classes, it may be on a different day than that class normally meets. If your instructor tells you otherwise, right, they may not be following this schedule. You may need to inform them that they're not following the schedule so that you don't have conflicts with your other classes. If they disagree with you, you go to their supervisor, right? Because we're all supposed to follow this schedule.
You gave us the wrong class. Yeah, we're 11.
Oh, you're 11.
I was looking at that. I was like,
Oh, see? And again, thank you for correcting me. I got my days and times already messed up. So I think we're still on Monday though, but we're at 10:30. So we're still on that same Monday, May 8th, right? But we're at 10:30. Okay? And I missed the window for like the computer lab, so we might be in here doing Scantrons, but there's one more computer lab I'm going to try and get us into. And I'll let you guys know if I'm able to do that. That one I don't care so much about if we do Scantron, although I know we hate that, right? I hate Scantrons. Because I don't let you see that one unless you come to my office. The other exams, your results, because we're going to take it on the computer, you can see on your computer at home. You can see how you did. And it keeps you out of my office for stuff that, you know, you don't need to be in there for. But you can come to my office too. Like I said, anytime. I don't mind. I get 2 computers. And I have 2 monitors. I even have 2 at home. I take the laptop home and I plug it into another monitor and I have side by side. I spend too much time on the computer. Okay, so back to the syllabus. So those are those important dates, right? We know them. So now grading, which is what you guys really care about. So because I don't know exactly how many points I'm going to have, I'm going back to the departmental issued percentages. Because I don't want to lock myself into set points for our in-class stuff. So our in-class stuff, our online assignments, our discussion boards, our Wiley Plus, that all falls under the assignments category. So it's going to comprise 25% of your overall grade. The great news is that there's a formula, right? But I'll set it up in Canvas. It will calculate it for you. So you'll pretty much know where you stand. But what are the important numbers you need to look at? Your exams. Because notice they make up 50% of your overall grade in this course. And the final exam is 25%. Right? Determined by my boss and the higher-ups. Right? I can't change that. So we're going to have actually 3 exams. We're going to cover 3 modules. Within the modules are different topics. I used to go by chapters, but when we change different books and they put out new edition of the books, they keep freaking changing the names. So I stick to, you know, the general topic names, and I make them short, like microbiology, and microscopy, and prokaryotes, and eukaryotes, things that make sense. And then, of course, in my syllabus addendum, I tell you what chapter it is and the title of the chapter. I also go one step further in Canvas. I'll actually give you specific sections within chapters that you should focus on, right? Or remind you that sometimes when you're reading a particular section, like what you're going to do in chapter 1, they reference another section, and I go into that much detail in another chapter in the book. So you'll need to go to another chapter even, right, and read a little bit more. So I'll help you guys navigate. And again, do what works best for you. Read when you need to read. I'm not your mama. I'm not going to be like, you did not read the chapter, right? But the book is good, right? I fought to get this book. It's readable. It won't make you go to sleep for the most part if you're not already sleepy. It is a good book, and it is worth reading. And I reread it every time before I lecture, right? So past books, I had read them like 10 times, right, before I lecture. So even I still reread. So if I'm reading, what should you be doing? Reading. Okay. Guidelines for discussion board. This is general stuff. I just want to point out this one. Do not write in all caps. That is like shouting at somebody. And if you're like me, I do this when you shout at me. Okay? So don't do it. It's really hard to read. And literally, it means you're shouting at somebody when you write in all caps. Don't do it, right? And in fact, there's somebody that does it each semester. I'm going to write in the comments, I'm not grading this. I can't read it. You know, you got to not do it. Right? So I'm warning you up front. Do not do this. Do not torture any of us. Okay, so that's the syllabus addendum. So remember, everything's under modules. The next is Wiley Plus. And so I even have recordings on how to download material and how to sign up for Wiley Plus, but at the very end of the class, probably going to have somebody quickly do that so you guys can see how easy it is. I had wanted to do something else, but I forgot to do it, so maybe I'll ask for a volunteer to check something else out for me. Compatibility, right? This can be an issue with computers, so this is a special link that Wiley gave me, right? So I'll go ahead and even click it today. This will tell you whether you're running the correct browser. Most of the links, by the way, too, are going to have you click again, so you know you're leaving Canvas, right? Any external links, you have to click twice. And see, I'm okay on my JavaScript, our cookies, my pop-ups, and my Flash. I'm ready to roll. Anything I want to look at in Wiley Plus, I'll be able to do. Right? So you can do that on any computer. Because especially if you're not able to see something or do something, it might be a compatibility issue. So I have that quick, easy link. So the other thing is, one of those things it checked for was cookies. That sounds good, huh? And the other problem we run into is cache. These sounds great, right? No, these are computer terms that aren't good terms as far as I'm concerned. They're not yummy and they're not money. Okay? They can create problems for you to be able to do things online if you don't manage them properly, right? So this is the #1 problem tech support deals with, is cache and cookies. So they've actually put together on their help, and I've added it to our page here. I created a page just for it that tells you for Safari, and then you can click their links for other web browsers or computers or whatever you're running to figure out how to fix that problem before you call tech support. So if that problem is not your problem, then you call tech support. And I'll tell you, they're fabulous. Over the weekend, I was trying to set this stuff up, and I was having trouble seeing something, and over the weekend, they only have live chat, and I was like, oh, you know, I prefer that whole phone talk to person. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. This is the only option I have. It was awesome. He was so helpful. I didn't even know it was a guy. They sent me a review thing last night, and how was my experience with Chad and his picture? I was like, oh, well, I didn't see that when I was communicating. I had no idea. Guy, girl, whatever. I didn't care because he helped me, right? He helped and made my stuff better for me. He was really helpful, and it was really fast. You know, I just chatted in the window, and at one point I thought I was done, and I thought he left, and I was like, oh, please, are you still there? He's like, yeah, I'm still here. And I actually have one more question. And so and they sent me a transcript of the whole thing that we talked about. Granted, I didn't need it, but I was like, wow, that's nice. Because you know how sometimes somebody walks you through something, if you don't write down notes because you're busy trying to do it, then you try to do it again and you're like, oh God, what did I do? Right? I don't remember. When I teach other instructors, I'll ask them, I'm like, how do you learn best? One teacher looked at me, he's like, what are you, crazy? I said, you don't understand. I have a lot of new people that I have to train. I'm not doing this again. So if you need to take notes, you need to do it, you need to do whatever you need to do, that we're doing this once. Right? We're not doing it again. I'll do the same thing with you guys, right? If you come for help, I'm going to say, how do you learn best? Right? What do we need to do to get this done the first time? Right? Because all of our time is precious. So this is something that will save you a lot of time, right? If you do this first. So our first assignment under modules is to actually introduce yourself. And go ahead and put your major in your introduction. And anything else you want to share. You don't get points for that. You get points for the other parts. Yeah, and I didn't add it. But I'll add those links from the syllabus, as I said, on how I grade the discussion board and stuff like that. I don't want to, or how to navigate. I don't want to spend a lot of class time on that. You can just watch a video. So this is the discussion board. I actually have the quick link here too, but I always link everything to my modules. You're going to do, it's a good icebreaker. It's really interesting. It actually is pretty accurate. You know how you do personality quizzes and sometimes you're like, oh, that's so not me. Well, it might be because you weren't honest in filling it out, for one, but this one actually is pretty interesting. So it actually gives you your medieval personality. And apparently you can not write the correct information. Like, even though it's required, you don't actually have to tell the truth. Job. And that one's optional anyways. This, right, they're actually curious if you're, you know, like what you do. And I'm putting completely satisfied, which is good, because otherwise I should be looking for a new job, right? And that might be why some of you guys are sitting in this class, right? You're not satisfied in your current career and you want to change. You're only going to get emails from them if you actually put in your real email, if you click this. I've never gotten an email from them, and I've put in my real emails. So, but if you're like email paranoid, watch, it'll take that pretend one. It doesn't check. You can look at it in different languages. I only know English, so I'm going to click question 1. There's 10 questions, and they give you things to rank in order of importance to you, or how you feel about them. You can only use each number once to actually advance to the next question. So if I think I can't decide between family and good restaurants, I can't put these both ranked as 1. I have to pick 1 or 2 for these. It won't let you advance to the next, right? It clears it, right? So some students in the past are like, it's not working. I'm like, you're not following instructions, right? You have to pick 1 just once, 2 just once, 3 just once, and 4 just once. And then it goes to the next one. And there's 10 of these. It doesn't take long at all, right? So you're just ranking 4 things 10 times, right, as it relates to you. And then you're going to get a result. So I've already done this, and I actually even hyperlinked mine, so we can go right to that page. So this one makes sense for me, considering my career. In the past, I've gotten different results. You change over your lifetime. It's kind of interesting. So this part in the beginning is the same for everybody. What's actually different is when they give you your actual result, which in my case is the shepherd. You want to copy this. Oops, I went too far. Down to right here, right? So just a little paragraph. You want to copy that. And then you want to paste it in at the bottom of the discussion. So this is the start of the discussion. You see that little reply box? You just click right there, and then you get the text window, and you paste it in. Or you can paste this into a Word document, right? And then plop it in here later. Because you know if you type anything here and you don't highlight it and copy paste, and you lose internet connection, like if you're doing this Wi-Fi, you lose everything you typed. You know this has happened to me, right? Okay. So what I did is I just took that, this is how you hyperlink. I just took that page address, I copied it, I put it here, copied it in, and I even linked it. So that way when you click on it, it went right there. I hit insert. So later on when you guys do web search, right, and you link stuff in a discussion board, that's how you link it. And I'll go over it again, because it just makes things easier for everybody if we don't have to like copy and paste web addresses. Sometimes you don't grab it all, or you can't maneuver and all that good stuff. It's good to just click. So then, if you read the instructions, 4 points, you need to tell me, does this fit you? Is this result bogus? Is this really who you are, right? Give some type of explanation. You'll see that I did that, right? This result fits me as most people. It's hard to accept the negative side they give you, right? For me, I'm like, am I really manipulative? I guess I can be under certain circumstances, right? And then I gave you a little intro about myself, and I have a Twitter account. Nobody's really signing up for it, though. Don't feel you need to. But I do have a Facebook account, and I will not add students. That's my personal world. My social media choice for work is Twitter. And I'm going to try and take more pictures and tweet more. Right? My goal this semester is to tweet once a semester about something cool, or retweet about something cool. So if you're a tweeter, or Twitter, I'm on Twitter. Okay, So some of you guys have already started this. This is great too. I love this because then I can show you guys one more feature. So did I cancel that one? No. I'm not going to actually post this, but when you post, you're going to hit post reply. So you'll see some people have posted and some people have replied, right? Some people copied more than you needed to, another shepherd, right? That's fine as long as you get what we need, right? To quickly collapse so you can see once this gets big, just the name in the first line, right? So we can get a quick idea of, you know, we've got white knights and shepherds and no interesting ones I haven't seen yet before. If you after you do your initial post, you're going to reply to at least 2 of your classmates, right? So notice you get points for that. And that's always going to be the case for the 2 other discussion boards we do. If you shrink it down so you're looking for something in particular, somebody that strikes you or you want to communicate with, then you just hover over it and the arrow will show up that you can drop down and see that person's entire post. And then at the bottom of that person's post is where you hit reply to reply to that specific person. But you got to do your first initial one in this reply box right below the description. Does that make sense to you guys? So it's a little bit different. I don't know. There's likes and dislikes between different discussion board platforms out there. And then I will grade you based on the grading rubric. And my other recording goes over all the steps of this. So basically, I grade you based on the instructions here, whether you actually did what I actually asked you to do. And this is, you know, again, just like a participation grade. As long as you follow the instructions and do what you're supposed to do, you're going to get all your points, right? And if you don't get all your points, you will be able to quickly see from the rubric or any comments that I send you as to why you missed points. And if you still have time to fix it for points. Okay. So the one thing I haven't loaded up yet, but I will, is the first set of objectives in the PowerPoint, and that'll be under this module. There'll be a page here. I'll quickly pop over to my other class. I don't know why I didn't do it last night. Honestly, I did not eat lunch yesterday because the lab is from 11 to 2 and then 2 to 3:15. My brain was like, by the end of the day, I was like, one smoothie in the morning is not going to cut it. I got to figure something out. My brain was like, no, I need food. So it'll look like this. It'll say objectives and PowerPoints, right? And module 1. And it will have the link to the objectives that you can download, save to your computer, or view by hitting the little view thing. And then the PowerPoint lecture I'm going to use next time. And then, like I said, even tips about what you should be reading in your book, or important things like the fact that this PowerPoint covers some material that aren't in your book but is on the objectives list. So guess what? You need to know it. Right? But it's not hard stuff. It's not like you have to read in your book to understand it. You're going to understand from my lecture what you need to know for the test. All right, so let me close out like 500,000 things. And actually, because you don't put in any personal information because your password gets hidden. Oops, I closed too many. I'm going to ask for a volunteer to log into their Canvas, and I'm going to leave it recording for anybody who missed class today. Any volunteers that haven't signed up yet for Wiley Plus? Come on up. So her password's going to be blocked out just like mine, so no personal information is going to be recorded. You can use the mouse or the pad. I'm a mouse user. I'm old school. Okay, so how do you get to your class? Okay, where there's everything in this class. There we go. And we want to do Wiley Plus. So this is a recording of a past semester, right? That's the compatibility test. So what do we got to click on to maybe get to our book? It says read, study, practice. Or you can click on the gradebook link to any of those that say Wiley Plus. Remember, we're leaving Canvas, so it's warning you that you got to click this button and you're going to leave. And it's going to open in a new tab. You'll agree, because if you don't, you won't get access. All right, so these are your choices, right? If you buy at the bookstore, you click this little plus. It takes you step by step on how to unzip this thing and put in your code. Or if you want to just buy your access, you hit that little plus. Notice, as I said, it's $55. You get the assignments that you've got to do and the ebook. Or right now, what you probably want to do is free. Grace period for 14 days. Click that. And that's it. That's the last time you have to do that if you pay. Otherwise, it's going to take you back to this once your grace period has run out. So go ahead and click Go to Wiley Plus. That was really easy, huh? It's all linked when it's working. This is the book, y'all. That's chapter 1 right there. That's all the different sections. You can click on any one of them you want. Even animations, podcasts. Right? There it is. Just as it appears in a book. But it's on a computer screen. Notice it says at the top, too, how many days she's got left in her grace period. And she could even click right there to register. If stuff is not popping up for you, guess what you need to do? Clear cache and cookies. Go to the link to learn how to do that for your particular computer. All right, thank you. I'm going to log you out, though. Notice it opens in a new window. Caution. You cannot have more than one of these windows open at any one time. If you're an A&P student that uses Wiley Plus, you can't have A and B and micro open at the same time. But who would do that? Some people do, right? If you have a window open and you don't realize it running in the background, it won't let you in. Any questions at this point? Okay, so what are you going to need to do for next time? Read chapter 1, read the departmental syllabus. Might ask you a question about some cool resources that are available on campus, right? And we'll jump right in, and I should hopefully have the exam schedule, what days our tests are going to be when we're going to go to the testing center today or tomorrow. And guess where I'll post it? On Canvas.